Sorry, I said I just also tried to call Bong to see where he's at, but he didn't pick up. So maybe it's 10 minutes. You don't, Ferial, do you think you can cover it a bit? I mean,
That's
I've worked with Bong in the past, and I'm part of that consortium. We've submitted several proposals together, so I could talk a little bit about it. But Bong is really the expert.
So how about you and I do that, Daryl? So I'll start off because I have a bit of the knowledge of that, but I wasn't. He created his presentation, so there must obviously be something happening because I did try to contact him. He hasn't responded. So what I will do is I will have him record that anyway in a different session, and we'll include that so people.
Good idea.
It is a very important part of what we're doing in Living Cities Earth right now. So I'll take a shot at it, right? So earlier on, Andy.
I'm so sorry, Ferial, I'm so sorry. Would you like me to share his presentation? Because we have it.
No, because I
no?
don't know what his
Okay.
logic was around all of that. But I can share certain about the project, which I think is necessary.
But could I, when I contribute, I wouldn't mind seeing it. Might spark something in my recollection. So
Okay. So if you want to share it, great. But note, I'm not necessarily going to follow that, right? Because I'm not sure. So we'll just keep flipping through it, right? And if I can pick up on some of the stuff there, I will. But I'll start by saying our infrastructure and kind of net zero solutions they're important, but in Living Cities Earth, this is not really hasn't been our main focus, right? However, with partnering with Bang and Young Moon and the consortium, the Net Zero Consortium, it's been interesting for us because it's almost like developing. So you can have a look at a little bit more about what Bang is all about there. A little bit about the fact that Andy Ferguson mentioned earlier on in one of the sessions, a MacGuffin, right? So in other words, what is it? There's an entertainment value in a story when you watch it, right? Like as in there's something that we go to watch that story for. But in essence, when we're busy watching that story and we start to engage with that story, we learn other lessons, other things in that story. It's packed in. A beautiful story is written in this way. And in a way, this is how Bang, myself, and the consortium is actually approaching this aspect of our work. We know right now this is what cities are asking for. This is what they're calling for. This is what they're saying as they're focusing on a lot of these problems, which is the kind of amazing targets that they've set. These are.
I think you could. I'm sorry to interrupt. You could leave it on that one slide. I think that the one slide where you just passed. No. Go back. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I might just work through this as well, if that's okay. But I'm just going to lay a little bit of a foundation in the sense of that it was about what do they want right now. So instead of trying to go at them with paradigm shifts and all these other kind of stuff, which is not necessarily the thinking that they're in right now. Right. I remembered, I think it's Marilyn, you said there was H1 thinking, H2 thinking, and that's not generally where humans are at right now, is that high consciousness level. Some humans, but very few. So at this moment, it is about journeying them towards, and we realize, having these solutions as part of what we do is an incredible way of engaging them on the level and at the place where they're at right now. And also doing it in such a way that encourages and nurtures that paradigm shift that we know is necessary. Through we've heard a lot of the sessions actually talking about that. If you want to go to a different place, you've got to go there with a different mindset. Right. And so we know that, but very often it's not as apparent as it is to us, like it, in the same way as it is to those who are right now, holding those spaces and places for leading cities to that next transformation of who they will be. So the question becomes, who will they be? Right. And so for us, it is like, so Bang and the Zero Emission Consortium has kind of designed this pipeline of solutions that are quite groundbreaking. We're not thinking of it as ultimate solutions, not thinking of it as the best. It is what is the best today. It is what we know can work. We don't really want to go in with too many experimental kind of stuff because we don't know if it works. But part of it is also holding a space to learn about that experimental stuff that is starting to happen, because we know that there's possibly better solutions than what we can offer today. But we're certainly making sure that we're offering the best of what is available today. So a lot of what it focuses in on is actually waste to energy, as you've seen there. So it's climate smart practices and precision agriculture. So it meets the need across the nexus of food, water, energy, and technology. Technology is something that has just been added because we realize how, with the onset of AI and other aspects, how technology will also drive that. So it is really important, if we don't want to create infrastructure or provide solutions for infrastructure development, that it is not done in silos. Right. So the main focus is waste energy to begin with. So normally in a city, we're sourcing for kind of what wastes have they got, and how could we turn that waste that they have into energy. So the important thing is, going into specifically kind of the waste banks where there's nothing being done with that waste. It's just going into landfills. So some of the solutions that Bong is offering through the consortium really focuses on things like plastics and tires and these kind of things that traditionally have just been, polluting our world, because there's not anything we can really do with that. And so they've got these technologies that now really can turn that waste into energy, all kind of agricultural wastes and all kinds of things, as you showed there. Even things like styrofoam is a big thing. And so the idea is also to bring then in aspects of renewable energies across solar, wind, and hydro. Of course, there are always better solutions, and we're busy, as I said, investing into what is better. But at the moment, we're going with what can service the need of a specific place. If they have more wind, if they have more sun, if they have, that kind of thing, and doing that process in relationship to the waste to energy, in relationship to the water treatment, in relationship to ESG capacity that can be built out of that. So, so starting to engage the local communities with how do we not only provide infrastructure, but how do we also help that paradigm shift by engaging with communities in various ESG practices. And then there's, of course, social entrepreneurship and just innovative financing options. So right now, what is really great for me about the consortium is, particularly when we're working in kind of the developing world setting, where there's not a lot of funds available for this kind of latest and greatest infrastructure development. And it's usually the same suspects, the bigger cities that get to have the best innovations. And what is happening is actually we've managed to start sitting down with wonderful funders who are willing to also bring funding to those infrastructure solutions. In other words, if a city decides to engage with our product, we're not only just saying, oh, well, now you have to pay us. But actually, what is interesting is we're offering financing with that. And at the same time, we're also not leaving them with a massive debt of finance, which very often is the case. Instead, we are providing solutions that are so circular in nature so that they also have baked into them actual return on that investment, actual, profit in there, so that whatever there is as a debt can also be paid back, and also enriching the local society, that city, with finances, jobs, etc. So our target audiences here are pretty much all human settlements. Now, of course, Living Cities Earth focuses very much on city urban environments. But right now in March, for example, I'm off to the Maldives. And the Maldives, if you know anything about it, they're situated across hundreds of islands, and some of the biggest ones have, for example, other than Male, which is the capital city, I think we're going to be working with two of the cities who are supposed to be big cities, but they only consist of 15,000 people. So one of the cities is called Adu, and there's another name that's a very big one I can't pronounce. And so, but the point is that we're sitting down. Dr. Wahid, who was an ex-president of the Maldives, is hosting me there, and we're going to be having discussions with local communities, meeting them, greeting them, getting to know their heart, right? And at the same time, finding out what will work for that. But the exercise there is so that we would find the solution that would work for those small island nations all along that Pacific coast region, as they are also happen to be the region that is experiencing the greatest outfall from the climate, kind of stuff that is happening around there. So I think Living Cities Earth, for us to have that heart for, we want to work in those regions that people are really suffering. And so this is why this exercise. And it just so happens that Dr. Wahid and his son Jeffrey, they have both been in politics. Jeffrey has also been a minister in the Maldives and both of them have worked for the UN collectively across decades in that entire region, as well as lots of other parts of the world. So they have decided to be our boots on the ground negotiators in that region. So it's phenomenal and fantastic what we can then do from there. We're also really looking at pilot sites. So the UK has been identified as one of those pilot sites. Why? Because we have a lot of co-founders in the UK, number one. Meaning the aspect that Living Cities Earth would provide in a greater way is that kind of inner development stuff, is that kind of paradigm shift stuff. Because what we're doing is, even though we're selling infrastructure, we're also baking into that the paradigm shift. And again, back to our city certification that I had talked about earlier. So all of this will be in partnership, and the infrastructure solutions will be offered as part of a city certification, not just in its silo. Again, the idea is that we're always developing everything we're developing in partnership with. So ready yourselves, because all of those services and things you're sharing here in the Emergathon, they're going to be used if you want. They're going to be, employed in that way, because once we can show the cities really what we can do. So I would like to invite you. There is a document that Bang had created, which is called the California Hydrogen Highway Pipeline. And it is offering, its specific was for California, but we will attach it, and perhaps those who want it, maybe you can request it from me or Bong and we can send it out to you. But you can get an idea of the kind of circularity with which the solutions are being designed, so that if you have any contacts in your city and places where you are, remember we're saying human settlement, so villages, towns, cities, and we're taking different approaches for each of them, employing a lot of the same strategies, but on different levels, because obviously what a island nation or little town of 15,000 people need, and what Edinburgh or London or Trieste needs are very different. And therefore, in this first year, we are choosing several sites. As I said, the UK has been identified as one, Scotland in particular, merely because I live here too, and we have the wonderful Marilyn Hamilton here, which is going to be exciting because, Marilyn, we're going to be able to really help, in Scotland. So for us, it was because we have so many co-founders. We have Nate, we have Marina, and we have a number of us, right? So, and of course, the other sites we're looking at is we've got several in Africa. In particular, we're looking at, they've got a whole bunch in Africa. And then I also brought Cape Town, South Africa to the table. So we've already got boots on the ground saying, hey, we want to get involved. Again, we have quite a few co-founders there who can support that inner stuff, that paradigm shifty stuff, because this is vital. It's not just about providing the infrastructure. We're doing that with a reason. So, so I think maybe I just I don't know what the time is right now, but give Daryl a little bit of time maybe to talk about something more. Daryl, if you want to add something else. But I think that's pretty much what I'm going to share today. Thank you.
Sure. So Bong and I have worked together several years. We've submitted and co-wrote that California initiative, but we have in the pipeline several other proposals from the consortium. One with American Samoa that we've submitted already. And we've also done a couple of initiatives and proposals to the US aid. One of the things in the net emission coalition, zero emission coalition, our name has changed over time, but where we are at now, essentially, is we're looking for funding partners, and Bong has made quite a few connections with various funders. And one of the main reasons the consortium works well together is because several of the members have connections to large funding organizations. And one of the things Bong shared with me that he was working with Ferial on is bringing to the table some of these funders for initiatives. So I would say in the time we spent the last 2 years putting out proposals, we won one. And essentially what I look at, because my strength in life has a whole lot to do with how to leverage government entities. There's a lot of hogs feeding at the troughs of government funds, okay? And in my opinion, yes, there's a two-pronged approach we work with the consortium. We're attempting to get private funding in to fund things, as well as, like I said, we submitted proposals to the state of California. We've submitted proposals to USAID, and there may be entities like that in other countries. The one thing that we're working real hard with right now is several cities in the Philippines. The consortium has a big initiative with a number of city mayors already. And I don't know, Ferial, if Bong mentioned that to you, that the work that we did last year in the Philippines is really promising. And I would say the only add, because Ferial pretty much gave you the tour de force of all that, Bong, who really is the point man for the consortium in many ways. He really leads the consortium, but the members of the consortium is a mix of companies and entities whose passion in life is what you see on those bullets in terms of format. That really captures the essence of what the various players are offering, okay? All across the board. It's a very holistic approach to sustainability. And I would only add to what Ferial did an excellent job of giving you the overview of, is that a lot of the work entails writing and drafting the language to meet the organization for which you're trying to connect with where they are. And so the cities in the Philippines, the mayors all showed up and bought off on what the consortium was offering. That work continues. And so my hit is in collaborating with the Zero Emission Consortium in Living Cities Earth is very much in sync completely across the board. Bong's passion, I would say, in general, this all started with a focus on Southeast Asia and the island nations across the archipelago of all those areas, and as well as in Africa. So in September, I'm hoping to attend a conference, Africans Integral Conference in Johannesburg, and would love to kind of share what Living Cities Earth and the Zero Emissions Consortium are doing collaboratively together. I think I'm a fan of finding a pilot, of finding a project, and using that project to make concrete the things that we all aspire and talk about. Mm-hmm. And the only way to really do that is to draft these proposals. So one of the things I told the Bong offline when we were talking, I said, well, we need to find an opportunity to write a proposal that explicitly says, in collaboration, Zero Emissions Consortium and Living Cities Earth go in on a particular project. I'm a fan of making it concrete by proposing the dollar amount, the task at hand, yada, 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 that kind of stuff. That's how you make it real.
Daryl, if I may take over from you there, just really rounding it up for you. So actually that is happening right now. So what has happened is from the provision segment, because Bong is heading that up for us in Living Cities Earth. And of course, I take care of that segment from the management perspective. And basically, he has asked me to come on board with the consortium. So I'm now a member of the consortium, and so is Living Cities Earth. Living Cities Earth is partnering with the consortium. So every project that we work on now, Living Cities Earth is a part of. And so to say also that the idea is that it is, so I actually meet with all of his team members in Young Moon, as well as the consortium, once a week. And we're really working. So I'm kind of on the cutting edge of whatever is happening there, because this is necessary to drive that forward. So Bong and his team, phenomenal team, by the way, you guys, like incredible humans that really know their stuff. So I've been so honored, to learn so much from them. And actually, we have just had a meeting with a funder this week in the UK, that is very, very, very keen. They're just waiting for us for our budget, and he is going to drive this forward for us because it's an organization that works on our behalf as such, and they have been an organization that historically has closed many deals very similar and much greater than what we even proposing. So right now, what we need is a site in Scotland. We do 20 hectares of land. We need a local partner, which we call an operations and management partner, that can deliver on that, and we bring all the solutions and all of that to the table. So it's very far, you know, we can move on this quite fast, but the development of that project takes, you know, in excess of a year and a half to put all the components in place. And so my job is to find the team that would do that, and our development funding, which they are keen to provide, is actually ready to pay that team. So if any of you are like wanting to be on that team and you want to do what we're going to do, then please see me because it's exciting stuff.
Have you met Greg?
Yes, we're good friends now. Yes, I mean, like I said, for a while now, we've been meeting every week with both Young Moon, so we're developing different aspects because Bong is also very key on the ESG aspects of this as well. So guys, what I'm saying is I just want to round off now because I'm 2 minutes over, but to say there's lots of exciting things around that. Nate, all the stuff with, you know, governance things, there's so much that we've got to weave. And I'm saying that we've got all the raw materials on the table. We're at a very exciting place. Living Cities Earth now, that is why we need our core funding, because Marina and I have to work full time. We have to do this full time, and we have to have a full-time team because things are really moving fast and furiously with so much happening. So thank you for your attention. I hope I did that justice, but I'm going to get Bong to do a better job than me. Thank you.
Thank you so much,
You
Ferial.
talk faster than Bong. Bong, what you just said in 20 minutes, Bong would take an hour to do. He's very deliberative.
Thank you also for a beautiful feeling of the teamwork, right, which you just demonstrated right now, and all of this connections level, right, and that's beautiful. Thank you so much.